Hi, and welcome to the Brisbane Professionals Podcast. This is a podcast brought to you by SMS Law, going through the legal secrets that will benefit you and your clients, as well as having a little bit of fun as we go. This podcast is designed to educate you on, number one, complicated legal terms that we will explain in an easy to understand manner. Two, to understand why you do things from a legal perspective in your business. And three, to help you develop a plan for the future success of your business. Our mission is to help empower small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place. Did you know that any business owner is on average 7 months away from losing everything? That is the average time that it takes from a successful business to fold when an aspect of their business is not set up correctly. This podcast is all about empowering you and your business with knowledge and tools to ensure that that doesn't happen to you or to your clients. Let's begin, shall we?
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Brisbane Professionals Podcast. I am Craig Mason from SMS Law, and I have with me Jeremy Stretton from SMS Law. Say hello to everyone, please, Jeremy.
Hi everyone, hope you're having a great week.
Absolutely, we are indeed in sunny Queensland. We wanted to talk about employees and contractors today. So there's a pretty big topic that comes up from time to time, and it can have some major ramifications for your business. So what we want to talk about is just how do you distinguish between the two. You've probably heard the terms, and there's lots of commentary out there, but we just wanted to talk about today about distinguishing between the two, and then why is this actually important to make sure you get it right. So, Jeremy, you want to talk about employee and then contrast that with the independent contractor?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. So this is a really important topic, as Craig said, and an employee is someone who works for you. Doesn't have to be full-time, but they work exclusively for you. And a contractor is someone who comes and does work for you on a contract basis. So they come in at a time and do a job, and they will be paid differently. They'll be paid as a contractor rather than an employee, and Craig will talk about why that's important in a minute. But an employee really is someone who does more than 80% of their time working for you, and a contractor obviously would do work for other people at other times. So yeah, it is a really important topic, and it's something that a lot of people get wrong. It is quite a simple concept to understand the difference between an employee and contractor, but the ramifications of getting it wrong can be huge. So Craig, do you want to talk about why that's important and inform the listeners as to why that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few things that if it's an employee, then you need to do certain things, and then if it's not, then you don't need to do them. So if you get it wrong, you're not doing things for that employee, for instance. So one is superannuation. So an employee is entitled to that, whereas a contractor pays their own. So obviously that's important. If you say that it's a contractor and it's not, then you haven't been doing those sorts of things. Same goes with tax. So you obviously have to withhold tax, whereas a contractor pays their own tax, GST, all those sorts of things. Same with leave. So as an employee, they're obviously entitled to leave under the various awards, whereas a contractor, you don't have to pay and they don't receive paid leave. So they're sort of compliance things that differ. And then the other one is why it's important to distinguish between the two is there is risk. So with an employee, they're employed by you, and in most instances, they're not bearing any financial risk. That's the responsibility of you. Whereas for a contractor, they're bearing the risk to make a profit on the job, for instance, liability or responsibility for any poor work or injury, those sorts of things. So it's important that and they would normally have their own insurance as well. So, and that's something you should be asking if you've got a contractor. So those are the sorts of things as to why it's important to get it right, because if you don't have it right, then you may not be complying with what you need to do for an employee, for instance. That's probably the main thing that would happen, is that you've classified them as a contractor and they're classed as an employee, and you haven't done any of those things. So then there's penalties that apply from both sides, and the Fair Work will look into sham contracting arrangements if you're just trying to disguise someone as a contractor when they're really an employee. So it's vitally important to get it right. As Jeremy said, there's lots of information out there about how to distinguish between the two. There's a questionnaire, I think, on the ATO website from memory, or the Fair Work website, about how to classify whether they're an employee or a contractor. So if you're not sure, seek some guidance to make sure you get it right, because if you don't, there can be some major penalties and various other things. So vitally important. Jeremy, is there anything else you want to talk about with the employee and contractor for today?
No, I think that's everything.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's it for us today. If you could, please, as a favour to us, jump on and rate and review the podcast. If you want to get any more information and follow us for any other updates along the way, jump on Facebook, like SMS Law on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or search for us on LinkedIn. As I've said previously, we share other information throughout the time on that. And if you've got any questions, you can ask us through those forums as well. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for joining us.